Thank you for your cooperation. Where are you from?
I'm from Australia.
From Australia.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Russia, but I live in Dubai last year.
In Dubai?
Yeah, and I travel a lot to do.
So you said that's your first time trip
Yeah.
to Japan. So what was your first impression when you got here?
I think the best answer would be that actually I was going to spend just 1 week here, and it's my second month here now.
Second month.
So you like
So
it?
I really like the country. That's the best answer I can give you. I think my biggest challenge, and maybe the only challenge in the country, is that you guys don't really speak English. But I can understand that. I come from Russia where nobody speaks English too, so it's a problem of a tourist, of a foreigner, not a local people problem. I spend a lot of time in Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia?
Yeah, so
Okay.
like Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia. And I was always under the impression that Japan should be somewhat the same. Okay, I understand that Japanese culture is very old, ancient, let's say. But I expected to see something similar. But I was really surprised to see a totally different country. I enjoy more because it looks more like Europe to me, I would say. And I feel more comfortable in Japan, I would say, out of all the Asian countries. That's for sure.
Which part did you think most comfortable part of Japan?
Well, firstly, I totally admire how everything is well thought here. Attention to all small details. I like local culture. I like how people, respect each other a lot here, which unfortunately is not the same way in many other countries, I would say. So for me, I would say Japanese society and Japanese cities as an environment to stay. This is a very good place for me. It's just my gut feeling. I'm first time here in the country.
I see, yeah.
And this is my gut feeling. I can live here. Okay, after learning the language, of course. And I would say I even admire what you guys achieved, seriously. So congratulations on that.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Right, interesting. Thank you. And you said you've been like for a long time to stay here?
Yes, I've been living here for 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you experience any culture shock between here and your country?
There's not many entrepreneurs in Japan
Really?
because it's more a collaborative society of cooperation, not to stand out and take a risk.
Oh.
So I would love to see more of the young people do that. I worked in the education system, so education system doesn't allow much of that independence, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more freedom and creativity. That would be really nice to see.
You say like young people, young generation should be more active and be challenging.
Yeah, maybe take a risk.
Take a risk.
Be prepared to take a risk.
It's a really good time. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your cooperation. Where are you from?
I'm from Germany.
Do you live here or?
Yes, I live here for about 2.5 years now. Yeah.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a YouTuber actually.
Really?
I'm for German people about Japanese culture.
That's fantastic.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So I want to hear your question of Japan.
Yeah.
The first time you got here 2.5 years ago, what was your first impression of Japan?
My first impression from Japan, very organized, I would say. Everything is clean, the train system works very well, and people are more similar to each other, maybe more homogeneous society. In Germany we have a lot of multicultural people from different ethnicities, different countries, but in Japan most of the people are Japanese, so that's also one thing that I noticed.
So is there a cultural difference you find? Did you find any cultural difference between here and your country?
Yeah, compared to Germany, I would say Japan is more like group society, and they don't. In Japan, the people don't say things like directly to each other, or they don't say that much their opinion. Germany is very direct communication, and they say their opinion on things. Sometimes I think I don't want to know your opinion in Germany, but yeah, it's really more, they like to discuss and say their opinion.
All right, thank you. Last 2.5 years since you've been here in Japan, did you experience any cultural shock?
So one thing was, for me, the relationship between kohai and senpai. So what surprised me was that even though the people are just like 1 year older, or 1 year more senpai, that they talk to them in Keigo. It's like a different relationship, friends and senpai, even though the age is really similar. We don't have that in Germany that much, so that was something that surprised me.
So in Germany, with your kohai, and how do you talk to?
Just like a friend. Of course, it depends on how much the age difference is, but if it's just like in school club, then really like a friend more.
That sounds really different. So is there a Keigo form in Germany?
A little bit. Yeah, we have more than English. In German, we have a bit of Keigo, but not like in Japan. It's only like a couple of words are different, but in Japan, it's like a whole kind of language.
Yeah,
Keigo.
interesting. Thank you. In the last 2.5 years, did you experience any inconvenience to live in Japan?
It doesn't have to do primarily with living in Japan, but because it's an island, it's not that easy to travel to other countries. If you're in Germany, it's really easy to go to Italy or Austria, France. But Japan is an island, so it's not that easy. And from a cultural perspective, in Japan, some language barriers. I can speak Japanese, but I'm not perfect, so I cannot read all the newspaper, for example. Sometimes I don't understand something. So.
If you can bring back any like Japanese stores or Japanese merchandise, what would you like to bring back to your country?
Wow, yeah, that's a good question. I would say maybe something like a jinbe.
Oh, like traditional Japanese
Yeah.
food.
It's not too expensive, like yukata or kimono, but it's still like a Japanese thing.
Yeah,
So I would take that.
that's a good choice. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your help.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
So,
Hello,
thank you for stop time. Where are you from?
I'm from Poland.
When did you come to here?
2 months ago.
So you live here?
No, I'm in contract.
Oh, really? So what do you do for a living?
I am model.
Model? What kind of model do you do?
I don't know, photo.
So for
Yes.
on the magazine or like a YouTube?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, really? That's great. So did you experience any culture shock when you come here?
I prefer Japan that's Poland.
Mm.
Yeah, Japan is really amazing.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know, in Japan people is really nice and helpful. In Japan is a better life, I think.
Really like. So you prefer to stay here?
Yes.
Oh, alright. That's good to know. So is there any like difficulty to stay here?
I don't think so. Maybe I don't have a lot of friends in Japan, so but communication or living there is really good. Restaurants, people sometimes don't understand English, and for me English is a little difficult, but I still learning. But it's okay.
Have you ever tried Japanese food?
Yes, I really like
What did you try?
sushi, gyoza.
Gyoza. Did you like it?
Really.
Really? Which one was your most favorite?
I think sushi.
Sushi.
Yes, in Poland I eat every time sushi.
Oh, really?
Yes, but in Poland it's more expensive.
Oh, so sushi in here is more cheaper.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. If you can bring any Japanese stores or Japanese merchandise, what would you bring back to your country?
I think this cat, I don't remember her name. Japan is cat with this hands, lucky cat, I don't remember.
How it looks like?
I can show you, because I don't remember name. Cat.
Ah, it's called manekineko.
Yeah.
So you wanna get?
My mom really need this cat.
Thank you for stop time. Thank you for your cooperation. Jeff, where are you from?
I'm originally from the United States. I've
Okay.
been living in the Tokyo area for the last 5 years.
Whoa. Well, it's been 5 years, but what was your first impression when you arrived at here?
So when I first got here, I come from a very small town, very spooky to
Spooky?
get to. It's very intimidating being like the largest city on the planet, and you're dealing with a lot of changes. There's like, instead of mountains and trees, there's skyscrapers and large streets. It's exciting. I knew that when I got here, I was really excited for all the opportunities, or wondering what's going to be, what am I going to find out, what am I going to enjoy, what am I going to find on my own, things of that nature.
So the first time, what made you to come here?
So I was here originally when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
My father brought me here on a business trip.
Alright. Did you experience any culture shock?
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty normal thing to do here. I think the things that point out to me mostly are, one thing you notice, especially coming from a place like America, like a Well, there's not a lot of trash everywhere.
Trash.
The streets are clean. Things are very clean and nice here compared to like some of the major cities. Like if this was New York, California, it'd be a completely different story. Another thing is just like the day to day. Tokyo might be the exception. It feels like everybody's very busy, but they're trying to live their lives to the best knowledge. Compared to like out in the countryside, where when I used to live out there, it's a lot more communal. It seems like a lot of people look out for each other over there. It's the same in the States. Mentality wise, it's more like I feel like since I've been here the last 5 years, I feel like a little bit more centered, for lack of a better word. Like it doesn't feel like I'm always rushing. I'm still very busy, of course, but there's always time for me to just be self-reflective. I feel like since I've been here for 5 years, I've come to be more self-conscious about the people around me compared to my time in America.
Okay.
It's easier for me to think about my position and think about like, okay, if I do something, how's it not just affecting me but the people around me? I think that's a very cultural thing in Japan.
All right, that's really interesting. So, is there any like obvious cultural difference between here and your country?
Obvious cultural.
Obviously. Yeah.
Level of politeness is probably the one thing I would say is the most obvious.
Really?
Like it's pretty straightforward to look at like the way people talk to each other here versus how you would talk to people in the States. Like it's kind of the opposite, where strangers here are treated with more politeness, and then as you get to know someone, it's more familiar. But it's more like when you're friends with people in America, you don't want to upset them. You're more cordial, you're more inviting towards them. Whereas with stranger, you don't really have those reservations. You're very casual with them. You can be very blunt, direct, impolite, rude. It's kind of the opposite, I would say. Obvious clash there.
Clash. Have you ever experienced that kind of specific story in here, like politeness?
I mean, the day-to-day there, I think the one thing is more the opposite when, on occasion, I think I've had one instance in my 5 years here, someone was very direct and very impolite towards me, which really threw me for a shock because everybody here doesn't seem to mind foreign people all that much. This was the one exception to the rule, I think, that I ever found in my 5 years here. They were very rude and were just like, they're like, go home. And I'm like, well, I've been living here for 3 years, so technically I am.
Okay, that's gonna be the last question. If you can bring back any like Japanese stores or Japanese merchandise, what would you like to bring back to your country?
That's hard. The first thing that come to mind was, since I joined here, I've been playing a lot of Kankore.
Kankore?
Yeah, it's an old game, but it's a fun one for me at least. If I could, I would like to bring back maybe one of those machines back to the States just so I could keep playing it.
Well, sounds fun. Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.